could think of killing his sister. That too, just she got married and proceeding towards her husband's house. How can somebody think of such a uh, sinful, demoniac act at the time of her, her marriage? So it was very shocking for Vasudeva. Yet, being very sober and self controlled in a very sober way, very thoughtfully, very gravely, he is presenting all these reasonings to Kamsa for his consideration. Further, he is saying, "You are merciful." Where is Kamsa merciful? So you can just imagine the greatness of Vasudeva in appreciating Kamsa by saying, "You are merciful. So kindly do not kill her. She deserves your affection. She is like your own daughter, actually." But Shukadeva Goswami continues to say, all these good instructions, good advice, kind advice, counseling, guidance, nothing seems to work on Kamsa. Because Shukadeva Goswami used the word, Kamsa's nature is darunaha, fiercely cruel. Not cruel, fiercely cruel, darunaha. Therefore, Nanyavartata, his grievous acts could not be stopped, even by a personality like Vasudeva. Because Purusha, Adhan, he was a follower of the Rakshasas. Rakshasa means man-eater. Imagine somebody can even eat human beings, how much cruel he must be. Somebody who is a meat-eater, animal killer, somebody who is a man-eater, how much cruel one must actually become to be a meat-eater. To kill animals and fill his belly, just to satisfy his tongue. How much cruel one must be. That means he does not care about anybody's life. He only cares for his life. I have to satisfy my tongue, that's all. And round up all arguments connected to that. Animals have no soul. Recently, somebody told me last week, woman has no soul. So therefore, you can handle any way you want. I was shocked. That means there are people who are thinking like that also. Woman has no soul. Human beings have no soul is another common argument. Animals have no soul. You can deal the way you want. These are all demoniac, foolish propositions. Very absurd propositions. So when you become a Rakshasa or a meat eater, you are sure to become cruel hearted. You are sure to become violent sooner or later. Because you are constantly seeing blood, killing. This becomes normal for you. You will have no value for life of others in particular. You care only for your life. This is the height of selfishness. So Kamsa could not be pacified by the good instructions. And he did not care for the result of his sinful activities, sinful thoughts, sinful moves. Neither in this life nor in the next life. He didn't care. What is the consequence of his actions? This is the nature of a demoniac person. So that's why Shukadeva Goswami is continuing in text 47. When Vasudeva understood that Kamsa is determined at any cost to kill Devaki, and his good instructions is not being taken seriously, nor even given a consideration. See, at least you may disagree, at least some consideration, right? A good person, a good soul, you may disagree. Every individual is uh, an individual being having independent thinking. At least you may give a hearing. You may disagree. But if good instruction is given for one's own welfare, why should one disregard? But Kamsa, even though these instructions are directed to him in particular for his welfare, he does not seem to consider any of those things seriously. He still wants to pursue his own decision and thinking. That is to kill Devaki. So when Vasudeva understood that Kamsa is not pacified, he thought of another plan, and that will be disclosed very soon. And that worked out. We will see that in the upcoming verses. Generally, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Those who are merciful by nature always forgive the minor mistakes of others. As the saying goes, to err is human and to forgive is divine. Means it is human nature to make mistakes, to commit mistakes. It is human nature. So to forgive is divine. So forgiving nature is actually a divine quality. Krishna explains this in the Bhagavad Gita 16th chapter also. Forgiveness, the quality of forgiving, is a divine quality. If nobody makes mistake, where the question of forgiving? Sometimes we say, I'm not going to forgive you. Sometimes we say, no, I'm not going to forgive you. So that can't be the attitude, because how can you do this mistake? Because he has done mistake only you have to forgive. So how can you do this mistake? Then where is the place for forgiveness? Of course, there could be some specific reason why one cannot be forgiven, just to teach him a lesson. That may be there, but in general, the attitude must be to forgive and to correct, to take time to correct the person. So, uh, so it is always the first steps always should be to forgive. Always to forgive. Actually, devotees don't take any offense, and they're by nature merciful and kind. But non-devotees are different. They are not, by nature, they're not merciful, they're not kind, they're not compassionate, they're not reasonable in their arguments. Sometimes these non-devotees or demonic persons, they don't think deeply. They don't ponder over the situation deeply and reflect why this is happening to me. Why not to somebody else? Some reason must be there. They don't have that sobriety and patience to think. Just like in this case, if you see, is it that only Kamsa is going to die? Only, is it that death is only for Kamsa? Is it that only Kamsa got a death warrant from the Ashariravani? Prahlad Maharaj also was faced with multiple death situations. Katvanga Maharaj was also given a death warrant. Prahlad Maharaj was given a death warrant. Parikshit Maharaj was given a death warrant like Kamsa. Hiranyakashipu told his attendants to kill his son and try all methods possible, not to save the son, but to kill the son. Just like suppose my children are sick, my son is sick, I will try all ways and means to save him. I will run from pillar to post. Here there is a father, Hiranyakashipu, has given an open order declaration, try all ways and means to kill my son. So even Katama Maharaj got, Parikshit Maharaj got, Prahlad Maharaj got death warrant. Ambarish Maharaj also, death was right in front of him in the form of a demon produced by Durvasa Muni. He was attempted to be killed. Pandavas had multiple times they were faced with death, not once, twice. Kamsa got only one time warning that he is going to die. Pandavas multiple times they were attempted, like Prahlad Maharaj also, multiple times he was attempted to be killed. One should also consider, it is not only Kamsa, everyone is going to die under certain circumstance, certain situation, certain time. Everyone is going to die. Whether there is proclamation or not. Okay, Ashariravani had made the proclamation. Fine. But if suppose that proclamation was not there, you mean Kamsa is going to be Amarajivi? Is going to live eternally and perpetually in that particular body, in that particular situation? Anyway, he is going to die. Why is he not thinking? As sure as death. It may come in this way or that way, in this format or that format, but death is sure. Prabhupada says many places, anything in this world may be sure, may not be sure, but death is sure. As sure as death. The instrument of death may be different. The cause of death may be different. The way you may be faced with death may be different, but it is sure. Then why condemn death? Why condemn the instrument of death? Why condemn the cause of death? Why become angry? Why did Kamsa become angry at the 8th son of Devaki? Why did Kamsa become angry at Devaki, who is not even the cause of his death? See the demons, how they are unreasonable. Okay, Devaki's 8th son is going to kill. Anyway, you're going to die. If not the 8th son, maybe the 9th son, maybe the 1st son, maybe somebody else. Anyway, you are destined to die. The instrument happens to be the 8th son of Devaki. If not the 8th son, in some form you will die because it is destined. Why become angry at the 8th son in particular and develop envy? Okay, fine. Why kill Devaki, who's nowhere the cause of his death? So sometimes, not sometimes, many times, the Asuric people, demonic people are very, very unreasonable in their thinking, in their planning, in their acting, in their willing. On the other hand, these demonic persons don't understand by not analyzing the situation properly, they are adding more risk to their account, to their life. Just like Kamsa, unnecessarily he was attempting to kill Devaki, thereby adding another Papa Karma to his account by mishandling Devaki unnecessarily. It only add to his suffering, add to his reduction of his life, because if you do sinful activities, your lifespan is reduced apart from the suffering. Krata Ayushaha, it is described in the Shastra. Your life can be increased, it can be reduced. There are authorities deciding. And that too, Mother Devaki, she is the mother of God. Anyway, for him, there is no such sense anyway. But I am just saying, how dare Kamsa can, like we say, daredevil, how dare Kamsa can think of killing Devaki? He's directly confronting God's mother only. What will be his fate? You just imagine. So sober person must consider all these things, but demonic people cannot be sober. They can never develop this quality of sobriety. Not possible. Actually, one should consider death is a punishment to the living entity in this world. Death is a punishment. Otherwise, the soul is eternal. Then why the soul is made to undergo death? Has anyone thought over that? Do people consider? Why is the soul undergoing death when the soul is deathless? So, the answer is death is a punishment imposed by superior authorities, by material nature, so that one reforms himself from the wrong acts he has performed and he is performing. So death is a punishment. It's a disease, actually. Death is a disease. The soul should not go through this experience of death. If he's going through, means he is diseased. He is not in the normal spiritual state. He is contaminated. The soul is in a contaminated state. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, uses the term called contaminated consciousness, because there is pure consciousness. So when the consciousness is contaminated, then the soul is subject to the experience of death in this world. And the contamination is to lord over material nature, to enjoy independent of God, to enjoy sense gratification, to enjoy independent of God, and to be the lord of the situation, of lord of everything. These are the two diseases attached to the soul, to the conditioned soul, because of which he is made to be subject to death, punishment of death. Otherwise, there is no need for the soul to experience this death. So anyway, we are subject to death. Instead of trying to overcome the disease of death and understanding why I am subject to death, Kamsa is trying to oppose death, avoid death, overcome death. Because demons or non-devotees, they are overly attached to the material body. Overly attached to their material body, the material situation, material relationship, overly attached. Therefore, they're very afraid of death, very fearful of death. Although they pose themselves to be very bold, actually demons or non-devotees, they're very afraid of death. That's a fact. So they want to overcome death once and for all, become deathless. So then one may ask, the entire Bhagavad Gita also Krishna is teaching how to overcome death, how to become deathless. The whole Bhagavad Gita is aimed towards teaching us how to become deathless, overcome death. Demons also wanting that only, they want to overcome death. Then what is the problem then? They're also trying to overcome death. They want to become deathless. We also want to become deathless. Then what is the problem then? What is the difference then? The difference is this. They want to avoid death by not in the way Krishna instructs and guides and prescribes. They want to become deathless in their own way. Krishna says, you surrender unto me, become my devotee, follow my instruction. You will become deathless, you will come back to me. But the demons want to become deathless without following God's direction, instruction, without willing to surrender to God. This is the difference. Devotees want to surrender to God and overcome death, but non-devotees don't want to surrender to God and God's instruction, but remain deathless. And what the purpose of being deathless for these demons? The purpose is to continue their nefarious activities in this world. Nefarious means wicked, evil, immoral. They want to continue their immoral activities in this world. The idea is not to follow God's direction and become pious, piously situated. That is not the idea. They want to remain deathless so that their sense gratification can be deathless and unquestionable. There should be nobody to question them. They want to enjoy their senses to the maximum extent and without any limits, without any restrictions. That is their idea of being deathless. And gain complete supremacy over everything in this world so that they can enjoy sense gratification unlimitedly. Just like we say, the Lord's position is to enjoy unlimitedly without any restriction. But the Lord's enjoyment is pure, not sinful. But the demonic person's thoughts are different. Their purposes are different. They want to enjoy sinfully, unrestrictedly, and unlimitedly, without following the orders of God. So, a sadhu or a saintly person like Vasudeva has a thankless job of trying to convince such demonic persons. Therefore, they take a lot of risk. A sadhu takes a lot of risk in preaching Krishna consciousness and trying to impress upon demonic persons about divine nature, cultivating divine qualities. And even though a sadhu has no enemy, still somehow people will become his enemy for no reason. And yet a sadhu is expected to show mercy. And we can see a perfect example of Vasudeva here. For no reason, Devaki has become the subject of envy for Kamsa. Still, Vasudeva is very merciful, very kind, and trying to preach to him, impress upon him that what will do good to him. So what is the difference between an enemy and friend? Kamsa is considering Devaki to be his enemy. So what is the difference between an enemy and a friend? It's a difference in behavior. For a sadhu, everyone is an object of mercy and compassion and kindness. He treats nobody as his enemy, even though they may harm him. He will not treat somebody as an object of threat or envy. He knows clearly that it is due to my past misdeeds that somebody has become my enemy. Okay, let me tolerate the pain of inflicted upon this person, upon me. Let me tolerate and burn off the karma. And Prahlad Maharaj says, a devotee thinks, actually the Lord is merciful, my suffering is minimized. Anyway, this person who is acting as my enemy is actually not my enemy. A sadhu knows very clearly, A person who is presently acting as my enemy is not my enemy. He is only placed to become my enemy to show back my karma. Reaction. He is only used as an instrument to reduce my karma. If not, somebody else will be my enemy. He is only an object, an instrument. That's all. So therefore, an intelligent person should not create enemies or make enemies or think somebody is my enemy. Again, he's defaulting. He's making a mistake. And he will become envious on him. Then again, he's creating one more karma. Because of my past misdeed, he is misbehaving with me. He has become my enemy. Let me tolerate. Or use intelligence to avoid the situation, to pacify the situation. Or if it is Providence will, with all your attempts, if it fails, you have to be tolerant. You have to be tolerant. You have to accept. And having faith, as Prahlad Maharaj says, that by Krishna's mercy, at least for a devotee, the karma is minimized to the maximum. Even the sample karma, tolerate, accept it. Don't deny, don't try to avoid. Don't try to avoid. Jai Krishna Balaram Gonitai. There's another important learning. See, Vasudeva is attempting so many ways to avoid this danger. Even though Vasudeva and Devaki both are very pious and virtuous. In fact, as far as they are concerned, there's no question of karma or residue karma. Yet, how ideally they are behaving. In our case, it is not the case. We have karma or residue karma. So therefore, we should be happy Krishna has minimized our suffering and finishing off that karma so that my path back to Godhead is being cleared. I should be happy. Okay, this person has become an enemy. This person is ill-treating me. I try to make the other person understand, reason with him. Beyond all that doesn't work, okay, be tolerant. Finish off the karma. Finished. Actually, elsewhere in the scripture it is said, you should thank that person. Thank you for closing my karma. Now my back to Godhead has become faster. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, so and so. Anyway, Prabhus anyway are never inimical anyway. Sorry to use that wrong statement. So who is that person who has become inimical to you? Of course, you may not tell him openly. In your mind, you thank him. There are some things to be done in the mind, not sometimes verbally. Thank him in your mind. Actually, if a sadhu or a devotee takes an offense, the other person is finished. Instantly is finished. It is the grace of the sadhu or the devotee that they don't take offense. They practice tolerance. Otherwise, the other person is finished. This is what Shastras say. Like, for example, Ambarish Maharaj, he didn't take offense. Otherwise, Durvasa would have been finished. He thought he will finish off the devotee, Ambarisha. It's not like that. One who thinks he'll finish off the devotee, he'll be finished. So Maharaj Ambarish, out of his kindness, natural kindness, he didn't take offense. Durvasa was spared. Parikshit Maharaj didn't take offense. Otherwise, that Chota Brahmin would have been finished. So many examples are there. The Pandavas didn't take any offense towards the Kauravas and Duryodhan. Repeatedly, he was attempting to kill them. They didn't take any offense, nor they showed any anger. So kind they were, Pandavas. Otherwise, they would have been finished long back. So, because Suhridam Sarvadehinam, Lord Kapila says the quality of a devotee is Suhridam Sarvadehinam. They genuinely are concerned with the welfare of not only their near and dear ones, See, near and dear ones, even you are concerned. You will show love, you will show affection, you will show kindness to your brother, sister, father. But a sadhu is different, very special, par excellence. Why? He shows that kindness, affection, compassion even to his enemy. And these are all the examples, live examples. It is not philosophy. It is in practice, in action. In action. How much kind Vasudeva is. How much kind Ambarish was. They go even more a step further. Rather, they pray for the welfare of such an inimical soul. Krishna. Somehow this soul has become inimical. His intelligence is polluted. He's thinking inimically. He's devising a lot of bad things. Ill plans he has got. Please excuse him, my Lord. Please protect him. Please give him good intelligence. The devotee prays for his welfare. You see, Vasudeva, how nicely is advising Kamsa. Ambarish Maharaj prayed to Sudarshana to save him. Durvasa Muni. You see, practical example. Arjuna is pleading to Krishna, Krishna, let's not kill the Kauravas. Let's not kill the Kauravas. Krishna is saying, you kill. Arjuna is saying, no, Krishna, let's pardon them. It is okay. Imagine, so if the devotees take offense, where it will go? On the other hand, they're not taking offense. They're even trying to counsel or preach or show kindness and compassion. Furthermore, they're praying even for the welfare of their enemies. So, Suhridam Sarvadehinam. And they practice tolerance. That's why Lord Chaitanya said, devotees must practice tolerance. Otherwise, there's every reason to become angry and upset. This material world is like that. Can't help it. Can't help it. For no reason, there'll be a trouble. So one has to be extremely tolerant. Learn tolerance. Taroriva sahishnuna. If you want to advance in Krishna consciousness, one must practice tolerance. Otherwise, he cannot advance. He'll become disturbed. He'll become agitated. He'll become agitated. He'll become angry at the situation. Why this happened to me? Everything was fine. Everything was right. I didn't do mistake. That's the fact. Vasudeva, what was Vasudeva's offense? What was Devaki's offense? That is how the material world is. As I said, as far as they're concerned, they don't have residue karma also. In our case, at least we have residue karma, no? So for that, some effect is coming. Feeble effect is coming. Not full effect. Huh? For devotees, there is no full effect of karma. Very weak effect of karma will come. So we just brush it off. Allow it. So, depending upon the Lord, one should continue his Krishna conscious duties and be saved. Krishna also explains this principle in Bhagavad Gita. Chetasa sarva karmani mayi sanyasya matparaha buddhiyogam upashritya mat chitta satatam bhava. In all activities, just depend on me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Then Krishna also said, mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. In all difficult circumstances, just depend upon me. Take my shelter. Learn to depend on me under difficult circumstances, complex situations. Learn. It is a practice. It's a cultivation. We have to learn to depend on Krishna. Pray to Krishna for direction, for guidance. It's a practical necessity and action which is expected from a devotee. And the more we practice, we'll become mature. So Krishna himself is saying, by my prasada, mat prasada tarishyasi, you'll overcome the difficulty very soon. Don't worry. Have faith. Sarva durgani mat chitta. If you're conscious of me, you'll overcome the difficulty. Do not worry. Krishna is giving assurance. So the devotee should have faith on Krishna's word and take a step forward in the practical field of one's life in serving the Lord. Krishna will give special intelligence to devotees in particular. Krishna will give special intelligence, special direction, special intervention will be there. One new path Krishna will show for the devotee. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita, again, Ishvara sarva bhutanam kriti deshe arjuna tishtati. Krishna is saying, I will give direction. Actually, Krishna is giving direction to everyone, but especially for devotees, wherein they can come back to him safely. Amidst all the dangers and craziness of this world, Krishna will safely bring the devotee back to Godhead. So we can actually see, even though Vasudeva attempted so many ways, it failed. Still, Krishna gave him intelligence to come up with another solution wherein it saved the situation. Now somebody may say, Karmi is also getting ideas, no? That may be there. That is Krishna's kindness. Krishna only is giving idea to the Karmi also. But for the devotee, it is very personal. It is very personal. Krishna takes personal interest. So that is a very special feeling and bonding between the Lord and the devotee. The Lord personally involves in the devotee's life and gives personal direction. So that makes it very special for the devotee. So one can be assured of the Lord's direction and protection and go ahead with his services in devotional service. So I'll stop here. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.